So far, through 3 weeks of the regular season, we picked 6 wager games.
Oh my gosh.
And the only one that we've gotten right was I got Packers over Bears right in week 2. So we're 1-5 on the brand new wager picks, meaning we've lost a grand total of 12 points on these picks.
What's sad is that this was my idea.
Yeah, you're 0 for 3.
And I'm the one that's, you're not doing much better. You got 1 over me, but it's still not great.
I have 17 points, Ben. What is going on, guys? Nick's picks week 4 of the NFL season, and I am joined, as I am always, by Ben. Ben, it is week 4 of the NFL season, and as we just mentioned in the intro, we suck. We're not doing great. Well, okay.
One of us is doing better.
I shouldn't preface it that way. I'm doing okay. I feel like I'm on par with a normal season for us, but dude, 4 points through 3 weeks. What are you doing?
Dude. I'm down bad.
But how are you doing on this fabulous Tuesday, 6 a.m.?
Actually, I could be better. If Atlanta lost, I would at least have 7 points, and they could be on track still for the number 1 overall pick. I hate that they won. I never thought I'd ever say that. I hate that my team won.
They're not playing bad. They've played 3 straight games, and all 3 of those games, they've been in a position to win. So let's get into our week 3 recap real quick. On Thursday night last week, the Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 29-17. The Bears beat the Texans on Sunday 23-20. The Titans win a close one against the Raiders 24-22. I feel bad for the Raiders because they're 0-3. But, they don't deserve to be. They really don't. They're better than so many of the teams that are 2-1 or 3-0. And I'm thinking of one in particular. The Colts upset the Kansas City Chiefs 20-17, which was Ben's wager pick last week. And he literally texted me. He's just fuck the Colts. Why? Who would have thought the Colts would have beat the Chiefs? Who would have guessed that?
Quick side on the wagers. Outside of the Saints and the Bucks, okay, fine. That was a risk by me. You can't tell me no one else thought the Colts. No one thought the Colts were gonna win. And then week 1, I had the Bengals over the Steelers. I'm not picking bad ones. I'm just unlucky.
The Dolphins win a thriller against the Buffalo Bills after Josh Allen couldn't get the playoff, and then I think their offensive coordinator has to take some anger management now. But the Dolphins win that one 21-19 over Buffalo. The Vikings beat the Lions 28-24. The Ravens win against the New England Patriots 37-26. Lamar Jackson has had the best start to a season I think anyone could have asked for somebody who's in a contract year. He's just absolutely proving that he deserves his money. The Cincinnati Bengals beat the New York Jets 27-12. The Eagles beat the Commies 24-8. The Panthers beat the Saints 22-14. So Baker gets his first win as a Carolina Panther. Speaking of wager picks that went horribly wrong, the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Los Angeles Chargers 38-10.
That's just...
Are the Jaguars for real?
I know. Side note
was it just because Herbert was hurt? I got the first challenge correct of the season. The Los Angeles Rams went on to beat the Arizona Cardinals 20-12. Ben was sure that the Cardinals were going to win this game. I challenged it, and Ben ended up losing 6 whole points on this game alone. That one hurt. The Falcons managed to beat the Seattle Seahawks 27-23. The Green Bay Packers outlasted Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 14-12. That was an exciting game to watch, other than the fact that there was no offense throughout the entire second half of that game.
I'll say, where's the excitement there?
Here's a weird one for you. The Broncos beat the San Francisco 49ers 11-10 on a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th inning to beat San Francisco. And then, obviously, just a couple of hours ago, the Dallas Cowboys did edge out the New York Giants 23-16 because nobody can protect Daniel Jones, apparently. God damn. I've never watched a quarterback have such a good game and get shit on for it the entirety of the game.
I don't think he necessarily played bad. I think
he had a great game. He literally put the ball in the receiver's hands 3 straight times on one drive, and all 3 of them were dropped. My door's opening again. That's creepy because it makes me think like a ghost is opening.
That's what I thought for a second.
So that is how week 3 wrapped up, leaving me with 0 points because all I did was miss my wager pick, which was -3, and then get my pick that Ben picked for me with the Broncos over the 49ers, which I did say was going to be a 1-point game. Didn't think it was going to be 11-10, but, you know, I called the fact that it was going to be a 1-point game because they were super even. But Ben lost 6 points on the challenge that I did, and then lost 3 more points on the wager pick that I did, or that he did. Ben, after going into last week with 8 points, comes into this week with 4 points after netting negative last week.
It's week 4. That's why I wanted the symmetry.
But how does it feel, Ben? For the first time in Nick's Picks history, you netted negative.
Look, man, you can only go. I can't think of anything positive, dude.
Well, the one thing I'm positive on is we are ready for week 4 of the regular season, and we start with the game of the week. I am going with the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a rematch of Super Bowl 55, and I am just not 100% sure if Tom Brady still got it. All right, you know what? It's not even the fact about Tom Brady. There's just a lot going on with this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, and I guess a lot going on with Tom Brady behind the scenes. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to bounce back after their loss against the Indianapolis Colts last week because, I mean, they didn't play horrible. We thought the Colts were going to be somewhat decent this year. It just took them 3 weeks to finally show it. So I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to show that I think this year are the better team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though this is at home for Tampa Bay. And I do think that Patrick Mahomes wins this one 30-24 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they get their revenge for Super Bowl 55, other than the fact that it's week 4 of the regular season, so not a single fuck will be given. But you get the win. So that's all that matters. So 30-24, I do have the Chiefs beating the Broncos or the Bucks.
Well, unfortunately for you, there is a fuck given, and I'm throwing down my first challenge of the season on this game. I believe in the Tampa Bay Bucks defense. Mike Evans is back. Chiefs got no defense at all. So I am throwing my first challenge on the season on your game of the week.
This is for those of you who don't understand what's happening right here. If you look to the left side of your screen, that is what full desperation looks like.
100%. All right, and my game of the week is between the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. Probably, honestly, I think if Buffalo won last week, this would be even more high priority, but Lamar Jackson is off to a great MVP type season, and honestly, I think he continues that against Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills, the secondary is still.
I was gonna say if you picked Buffalo, I'd probably challenge it.
Well, that's what I thought you were going to if I picked the. But I do think, plus the Ravens have the better defense, even though Ravens still don't have a really number one. They got Mark Andrews, thankfully saving me in my fantasy league. In the fantasy league so far, but I have the Ravens winning 28-24 over the Buffalo Bills. Plus, it's at home for the Ravens, so I think that adds a little bit more to them.
You could tell exactly when you quieted down in that. We move on to our picks of the week. The New York Giants, after suffering a tough loss to the Dallas Cowboys, will have to stay home this week and play the Chicago Bears. The Atlanta Falcons will go up against Mr. Happy Endings and the Cleveland Browns, except, Mr. Happy Endings isn't playing, but the Browns are still associated with that, so that's all that matters. The New York Giants go up against the Chicago Bears, and these are two offenses that are just absolutely struggling. So this is definitely going to be a defensive game, and I have the score 13-10, and it was just kind of a matter of, like, who do I believe in more? And honestly, with the fact that the Chicago Bears have absolutely no pass rush anymore, I feel like the offensive line can protect Daniel just enough to have him make a couple of plays. So I do think the Giants can edge this one out 13-10, but looking at the Giants' schedule, this is potentially the last game that I am picking for the Giants, especially if the offense continues to play like shit. This is probably the last game I'm picking for the Giants, at least for a couple of weeks until we meet up with Washington, I guess. But here's the thing. Like, there's so much fucking talent on this team. But we lost Sterling Shepard, so that hurts. And we're 1 week away from having to go play Green Bay in London. So just get the win before you have to go to London. I guess that's all that really matters. 13-10. I do have the Giants over the Bears.
All right. And mine is, of course, as Nick said, the Cleveland Happy Endings going against Atlanta in the ATL. And even though they got the win against Seattle, I don't think they're going to beat the Browns, mainly because they are still have more talent than Atlanta. So I have the Browns, even though I do have it as a close game because, again, Atlanta, they stay competitive. Don't know why, but it's at least promising for the future, I guess. I don't know. But I have the Browns winning this one 24-21 over the Atlanta Falcons. And that's really all I got. Nothing more to say there.
Okay, we each give a pick for each other that we have to talk about during the week. I gave Ben the Philadelphia Eagles going up against those questionably red-hot Jacksonville Jaguars. I guess we don't know how for real that is. But he gave me an AFC South matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans. At the beginning of the season, Ben, I have two questions for you. Who did we agree was the best division in football?
AFC West, I think.
Correct. And who did we agree is the worst division in football?
AFC South.
Last week, the Tennessee Titans beat the Las Vegas Raiders, so that was the South team over a West team. The Indianapolis Colts beat the Kansas City Chiefs, so that was another South team over a West team. Oh, the Jaguars beat the Chargers 38-10, so another South team over a West team. What the fuck is wrong? Like, what? Are we that bad at picking, or was last week just a fluke? Do we just kind of like chalk that up to a fluke?
Well, if last week's if last week's a fluke, then Jacksonville is just a fluky team because they're 3-0.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Actually, no, they're 2-1, I think. So yeah, the AFC South apparently isn't as bad as we thought it was going to be at the beginning of the season. So now, having an AFC South matchup between the Titans and the Colts apparently is a game of the week. So let's talk about it. It's not. It's not a game of the week.
Joking.
These are two quarterbacks that have either just as many or more interceptions than they do touchdowns. Ryan Tannehill going up against Matt Stafford. This is also, if you want to think about it, this is another key running back matchup. We've already had Barkley versus Henry. Then we had Barkley versus McCaffrey. Now we got Henry versus Jonathan Taylor. We've had some good running back matchups to start the season, even though none of those first two matchups turned out to be all that exciting. Hopefully this one turns out to be somewhat exciting. Both coming off a big win last week. Both coming off their first wins of the season. It's in Indy, so I'm going to go 24-23 Indy over the Tennessee Titans. I really, really, really don't believe in Ryan Tannehill. And while Matt Ryan is starting to show his age a little bit more, I still trust him a little bit more. So I'm going to go 24-23 Colts over the Titans.
I'm just glad you finally remembered the Colts quarterback because you started by saying Matthew Stafford. I got so confused.
Did I say Matthew Stafford at the beginning? Fuck.
All right. We are continuing with the AFC South as they go against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 3-0. And I don't know how you particularly feel about it, but I will say, as the unbiased NFC South fan here, the Eagles have definitely impressed me. Granted, they haven't really played anyone competitive, in my opinion, but they have shown that because of that, they are running away with these games. Jalen Hurts is doing solid. The pickup of A.J. Brown is showing up great, and Devontae Smith is showing that he is worthy of that first-round pick. All that to say, I'm picking the Jags. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not picking the Jags in this one. I'm still picking the Eagles to win. Plus, they're at home. I will say this right now. If the Jaguars win this game, I got nothing at this point. All that to say that I am picking the Eagles to win 30-21 over Jacksonville. I I think Jacksonville's their hot streak's gonna stop for a bit. Hopefully.
My one thing on the Eagles is their offense is a lot better than I thought they were going to be. But they beat the Lions, they beat the Vikings in primetime, which isn't that exciting, and they beat Washington. So, yes, the Eagles are good. Yes, they have a high-powered offense. I'm going to pump the brakes on saying that they could beat like a Super Bowl contending team or anything like that, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. But we move on to the ever so hated wager pick between the two of us. The one pick that neither of us can seem to get right. The game that we are wagering points on. I'm not even going to go with an easy one here. I am going to go with the Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. As Ben started to mention a little bit earlier, I'm not sure if I left it in the video or not, but as Ben started to mention earlier, Jimmy Garoppolo in his Sunday night game against the Denver Broncos made Dan Orlovsky very, very proud by running out the back of the end zone and not just either not knowing where he was going or just not having the physical awareness of all these lights bright. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
I don't know what got into Jimmy Garoppolo and why he all of a sudden couldn't figure out where the back of the end zone was, but that being said, he has to lead the San Francisco 49ers team for the next couple weeks. We're obviously going with the defending Super Bowl champions. I think that they should go into San Francisco, which is the other big thing about this. It's in San Francisco, and I am wagering the away team to win it. So I think the defending Super Bowl champions should be able to take care of the San Francisco 49ers 31-21, and hopefully we don't lose another wager pick.
All right. And now I swear to all that is good and holy.
You can do this, Ben. You can do this. I believe in you.
I'm going to tell you what. This is what I'm going to do. We're going to take a second. I'm going to go to ESPN right now. I'm going to look at the spread of this game. The spread of this game is the Packers minus 10.5.
Because Mac Jones is out.
And Mac Jones is out.
Ben.
If I lose this game,
Ben,
I am flipping coins on my wager picks.
If you lose this game, this entire thing is the intro next week.
I'm well aware. If I lose this game, I have nothing anymore. All that said, I have the Packers winning this game 32-17. I feel like I would be vindicated if I got this wager and the score. Like, that would just be a vindication moment. Like, hallelujah, I have a chance, and then I'll throw it away next week.
We move on, and we finish Nick's picks with the 2-point conversion. Now, the Dallas Cowboys had a very good game against the New York Giants last night. Cooper Rush is now 3-0 as a starter for the Dallas Cowboys. But there's one thing that I noticed about Dallas while I was watching the game last night against the Giants, and I feel like a lot of Dallas fans might actually agree with me on this one. The Dallas Cowboys have a very good running back on their team. I think that the Dallas Cowboys have a very good run attack, and that really starts with none other than Tony Pollard. It starts with Tony Pollard. He is clearly the best running back on that team. Like, without a doubt.
You're like, I'm going to object to any of that, by the way.
I trust me, you shouldn't have.
That's not even Dallas hate. That's just straight.
Yeah, football. I think that's what I'm saying. I think Dallas fans would even agree with me on this one. So, my 2-point conversion is that the second string running back on the Dallas Cowboys, Tony Pollard, will outrush Ezekiel Elliott, the first string running back for the Dallas Cowboys, against the Washington Commies this upcoming Sunday. I really, really firmly believe that if I was Jerry Jones or if I was doing a Madden thing and I was the GM of the Dallas Cowboys, I am trading Zeke's ass as soon as possible because I don't want to risk the fact of him getting hurt and losing that trade value, and I don't want him to get any fatter than he already is and lose any more trade value that way. So Tony Pollard should be the clear number one running back for the Dallas Cowboys, and I think they'll figure that out this week against Washington.
He's doing his best Eddie Lacy impression.
Basically.
Shout out to anyone that knows that. If you know that, you're a real fan. And I am moving on to the game between the Vikings and the Saints. And Justin Jefferson, week 1 against the Packers. Great game. Over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hit the Grady number, like, solid. Last 2 games has been great for him. But I think he will bounce back against the Saints. Yes, the Saints got a good defense, all that. And I understand that he's got Kirk Cousins as his quarterback. I take all that in consideration, but I still think Justin Jefferson is. I think personally he's a top 5 wide receiver. I think not much argument can be made against that. I think, but if you want to argue, fine. But I still think he's a top 5 wide receiver, and because of that, I think he will have at least 100 yards and 1 touchdown. The reason I didn't say receiving is because I think they will get him on some like jet sweeps or like anything like that. They will utilize him in multiple ways. So he will at least get 100 yards and a touchdown. Just a bounce back game against the Saints, who have a very good defense. I think Justin Jefferson can put it together for that. Well, we started this recording session with you coming back from a shit, and well, I gotta take one myself.